Hello everyone and welcome to the Zelda Cast here on ZeldaDungeon.net. My name is Andy Spiteri and I am always joined on these glorious podcasts by my friend and yours, Allison Aletha. Al, happy Mother's Day. What is going on? Very happy Mother's Day to you and all your fur babies.
Thank you. Yeah, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, mamas to be, like our pal Jules, my sister. They're on their way. I think that's super cute.
Yep.
And yeah, so all the moms out there, you deserve a nice day of relaxation and stress-free. You deserve it.
Yes, absolutely. So happy Mother's Day. I should never in a million years listen to this, but shout out to my sister. She's raising 3 kids. Uh, I was at my nephew's birthday yesterday, a 4-year-old's party, and I was just like, holy moly. And shout out to my beautiful wife Samantha, who is the best fur mama for Lincoln and Zora. We just missed Zora. She was prowling around here, but it seems like she has escaped for the time being. I shouldn't say escaped because that implies that she got out of the house, which she has been trying to do actually. But
Oh yeah, since that one time that she got out, now she thinks she's an outdoor cat, huh?
yes, yeah, she settled down a little bit, but she still, if the door opens, she's just like, ooh, who are you going?
I just got a catio. Have you heard of that? Did I tell you that?
You didn't tell me that, but is that like that little thing that you could put on the outside that's like an open area, but it's almost like a tent or something like that?
Yeah, it's enclosed and it's got like mesh,
Yeah.
and then you just put it up against the window, open the window, and they can go in and out as they please.
Yeah.
So that just got delivered yesterday, and I'm gonna do that for my cats because they also do the same thing where they're like, "Where are you
Ooh.
going? I want to go out there."
I just I don't have any windows like ground level or any, like it's just the door and like that's it.
Yeah,
Maybe
but
it could work. I don't know.
you could also get it and then just go throw her out for a couple hours, then bring her back in.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
She'd probably like that. Maybe I should look
hmm
into that. But yes, so we are here. It is Mother's Day, and we are recording a new episode of the Zelda Cast. And I feel like we're in the calm before the storm. It seemed like
hmm
there was multiple pieces of news flying around for many weeks after the switch to Direct in early April. We're about a month and change removed from that, and now we're about a month and change removed from the launch of the Switch 2. Less than that, actually. So yeah, we're kind of right in the middle here, and we thought that we'd bring back an old favorite today and do an episode of Zelda's percentages. And I'm looking forward to this because I think that this is a really fun segment that we do. And then the gist of it is incredibly simple. We are going to say a statement, and we have to assign a percentage of what the odds of that statement becoming true or not true are. So if I'm saying, I don't know, am I going to be really loud on the intro? The Zelda's percentage is probably 100% that is going to be the case. So yes, so we're going to do that today, but we're theming it a little bit differently. And actually, I thought it would be fun if we could encourage everybody in our Twitch chat. And by the way, if you're watching this, or if you're listening to this on podcast form, we do stream these episodes live on Twitch, twitch.tv/the ZeldaCast every single week. We're doing it a little bit early this week, actually, because it's Mother's Day, but usually it's about 12 Mountain Time. But if anyone is watching on Twitch and you want to throw in some character names in the chat, we'll get to those as well. But what we're doing today is an Age of Imprisonment themed Zelda's percentages, and it's going to be really simple. Instead of a statement, we're going to say a name, and we're just going to say the name. And what we are trying to figure out is, when we say a name, what are the chances of that character being a playable character in Age of Imprisonment going to be? Now, there's probably going to be a lot of pretty low percentages here, because I mean, like, the honest answer for all of these is like, who knows? But we thought it'd be fun to speculate and talk about maybe some possibilities and like how some of these characters hypothetically could get over to Age of Imprisonment if they come at all, which probably a lot of them won't, but hey, we'll have some fun with it. So yeah, that's what we got on tap for today, and I'm looking forward to getting back into Zelda's percentages. It's been a little bit.
Yeah, I don't even remember the last one we did, or what we talked about, or anything for the matter. So yeah, that definitely tells me it's been a long time.
Yes, indeed. Okay, well, you know what? I've got a list of characters here So Age of Imprisonment, Tears of the Kingdom characters rather, and I've got Breath of the Wild characters, and Age of Calamity characters, and maybe maybe even some regular Zelda characters. I don't know, but I've got these characters up, and I think that it is time to just get started. And you know what? Maybe we should just tackle the two big ones that Jules just threw in chat, because we've kind of talked about them before, but we've talked about them, but let's just start off with these characters. Let's start off with Link. So Al, Link will be a playable character in Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. What is your Zelda's percentages?
I'm going to say 26% because I do not think Link is going to come back to the past to be a playable character in the past. However, if Nintendo wants to do something where they have some past stuff going on, like mostly past stuff going on, but maybe they show some present stuff too, like what Zelda's doing affecting present stuff, and they have Link in a few levels that seem more present, like I could totally see that happening. In that we would see a Link specifically in this game, but otherwise, like it would be really low if it's outside of any kind of situation like that.
I'm a little bit higher than you. And actually, for the exact reason that you said, I was kind of like mulling around, and I was like, they wouldn't do like back and forth, would they? Like the past and the present, like that might be an easy way to get more playable characters, but it's also just kind of, I don't know if I'd be super into that if I'm being honest. But I could maybe see that, and if they did it well, like maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing, but. I think that there's definitely going to be some kind of Link equivalent in this game. Now, whether that's the Ancient Heroes aspect, whether it's like a Link but a different Link in the past, like the hero from 10,000 years ago, like technically, I guess that could be Link, but not the same Link. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go pretty darn close to 50. Actually, I'm gonna go 46% here, Al, because I do think that there's. Like, if you were asking me, like, is there going to be a Link type character? I think it's almost like, I'd go 95. But if it's going to be the Link that we know from Breath of the Wild...
Right. I'm in the same boat. If it was a Link-like character, Ancient Heroes aspect, and we might as well get that one out of the way, like, I think that's a high possibility, like 85% for me. Okay,
well, yeah, let's just transition right over to Ancient Heroes aspect. You said 85?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm gonna go a little bit lower, but I'm over 50 on this. Because again, like I think that there's got to be like a Link equivalent, and I think that makes a lot of sense in order to be one. 85 is like a little bit high for me. I think I'm gonna go 65. That Ancient Hero aspect will be a playable character, and I guess like too, we should also say like. Maybe the character isn't necessarily called the Ancient Heroes aspect, but if there's a Zonai that's like the Ancient Hero, then like I think that is, you know, like I think that's the character. Maybe what I should have done actually is went 54%, because then I would have had 100% Link or Ancient Heroes aspect, but I guess not. So I'm sticking with 65. I do think that will be a playable character, and probably a cool playable character to introduce. I think a lot of people already like kind of know and were intrigued about the character, so that would be one that would be like a quote unquote new character, but one that you already have some goodwill built up with.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how they treat the Ancient Heroes aspect and the Ancient Hero from the tapestry. Like a lot of the people, if you go around talking to them in that armor, they like, oh, you look just like the guy in the tapestry. So it makes you wonder if it's the same person, but that would still be past Sonia and Raru's time. So it makes you like wonder, maybe he's a Zonai that lived longer. I don't know, like, but if it's one and the same, like either way, any kind of like clone of Link is going to be in this game is my guess. That's why my rank is my percentage is so high.
Do you think that the Ancient Heroes aspect is Raru and Sonia's kid?
So I saw theories of that also, but I put that on my list as a separate character, like them having a child and that child being a playable character in this game.
It does kind of seem like a little bit strange, like if this ancient hero was the child of Raru. Like Raru did something like incredibly heroic. He sealed Ganondorf away, you know, and Zelda was there in the same time, and to have like 3 big major characters like leading this resistance, maybe it does seem a little bit compact, I guess. But I think that could potentially make sense.
I feel like there's more characters that we don't like know about or see from Tears of the Kingdom, and I have a few of them listed. But yeah, I just assume that they have a gaggle of kids somewhere, and maybe one of them is old enough to be, you know, like a warrior already.
Here's my thought. I think that we're gonna get like, so I think that Rauru is gonna seal Ganondorf, but I don't think that's gonna be the end of the game. I think there's gonna be something else that continues it, like some other kind of antagonist, or like I could see like an Aster showing up, not like the actual Aster, but like a character like it showing up to like maybe that's your final battle with the ancient heroes aspect, or I don't know, something like that. But yeah, so well let's finish off the other part here. Impa. Will Impa be a playable character in Age of Imprisonment?
I have a thought.
I'm intrigued.
I'm going to say 0% on Impa.
I hate when you do that.
I know. But the reason is because we hear of a royal advisor that kind of follows them around and writes those tablets that you find up in the sky. I think that's going to be the playable character that is an Impa-like. I don't think that it's going to be Impa or a Sheikah. I just think it's going to be an Impa-like character that, you know, we know and love, and that's going to be who's playable. So I'm going to say for that, I'm going to say like a 64% on that aspect, but 0 on Impa. I absolutely do not think Impa will be in this game.
So we do the Metroid equivalent of this show called Samus's Percentages over on Omega Metroid. And my co-host, Doominal Crossing, is like notorious for either saying 100% or 0%. And I'm always just like, God damn it, like don't do that. Like don't, that is not allowed to go like all or nothing. You have to, you have to, you know, allow the possibility.
Would it be better if I said 1%?
I would feel less offended. Yes.
Okay. I will try to go less as absolute as possible and say 1% for Impa specifically.
Okay.
What do you think about my advisor idea, though?
I'm with you. Yeah, I think that I actually, to be honest, I could see a character named Impa, who basically is a Sheikah. Because I don't know, are the Sheikah and the Yiga established at that time?
I feel like they're not. I feel like because we have like all this Zonai technology, right? And then it gets replaced by the Sheikah technology. So I feel like the Sheikah come way later. And that's why I don't think there's going to be an Impa or the Sheikah around.
Well,
or even like Robbie and Pura equivalents, you know?
Right. I think that you could show the Sheikah there, but maybe they're not as proficient in, you know, building all their technology and stuff like that. And maybe they just learn from the Zonai. So I do think that there's a very good chance that we see like an Impa-like character. And I could see the character just being called Impa. Now, my percentage, like, is it the same Impa from these games? Like, no. Like, I'm with you. I'm like 1%. Unless there's some time travel shenanigans, like, no way. But if there's an Impa at all, like some kind of Impa character, I'm going to say... I'm sitting on the fence a little bit here. I'm going to say 54%, because I didn't say it last time. I think it makes sense because again it's like a new character but a familiar character, and I think that's maybe what Age of Imprisonment is going to lean on so far, or at least at this point when we don't really know anything about the game, anything about the gimmick of the game. I think that could make sense.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
So yeah, okay. Well, let's run through and we'll pick a couple of characters here that stick out to me from Tears of the Kingdom. I'm not going to go through like every major character, but there are a few that I want to focus on here. And we are going to start off with another big name here, Al. We're starting off with Ganondorf.
Yeah.
I feel like 98% sure that Ganondorf will be playable.
I'm going to say 99.
Yeah.
Because you don't want me to say 100.
I feel like he's got to be a playable character. I think he's like absolutely built for like the Hyrule Warriors kind of vibe that they have going on. Like he has his big final smash where he could turn into the dragon. He has like the really cool like look when he gets the secret stone. He's going to be a playable character for sure, and he's probably going to be awesome.
I wonder if, so you've got Ganondorf, right? Demon King Ganondorf, and
Yeah.
he has different like aspects to him. But there's also like Phantom Ganon. And I wonder if like he would take on that power and maybe like go corpse like again and take that power, or if that might be separate, because they are two separate entities in Tears of the Kingdom. So for Ganondorf, I'm going to say 99%. But what do you think of Phantom Ganon?
You're reading my mind, actually. I had it a little bit further down the list, but I guess let's just talk about it now.
Okay.
Because I could see like a character like that, like one that kind of turns and shape shifts a little bit, like goes into like the Gloom Hands and then turns into Phantom Ganon. I could see that being a pretty like cool character. Like, would it be a little bit redundant with Ganondorf? Maybe. They'd have to really give like a unique moveset, like that really I think focuses, like almost make it like Venom, right, from like Spider-Man, where like it could like shapeshift and like it's like got all these like black gooey tendrils and stuff like that. I think that would be really cool.
It would be super cool if it was like it is a shapeshifter, it turns into Imposter Zelda in the game, right? Like what if it could change into the other characters of Tears and get the movesets?
Oh, okay, now we're talking. I think that bumps up my percentage meter a little bit. I didn't even think about turning into Imposter Zelda. That's a cool idea. That could be really cool. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm ready to go over 50. I think it's maybe more unlikely than likely. But I don't know. What are you thinking? I'm thinking maybe like a 40%.
I want to say I'm in the 40s as well. Let's go with like 47, because like it's a cool idea for us. It's just I don't know if that's something that, but that's not to say either that like at least in like Age of Calamity they had very similar characters like Yunobo, Daruk, or Teba, but they had different movesets.
Yeah.
So it's like possible to do that. And then also in OG Hyrule Warriors they had Zelda and Sheik, and they had two separate movesets, but they were the same person. So like they could do that. It's not outside of the realm of possibility. And the more I think about it, the more I think it is likely, because like we have to fill up the character bank somehow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna say 47. I think is what I said. I'll stick with it.
I could see like the Gloom Hands or Phantom Ganon or whatever. If not included in the base game, I could see it as DLC for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good one. I didn't think about that little wrinkle on it, but I think that could work if you really kind of went through with it. Because I mean, I imagine you're fighting that character like a bunch of different times in the game.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, moving on. Let me ask you a question. I'm gonna throw out the character name, and then I need your knowledge here. Will we see as a playable character, and stay with me here, the Great Deku Tree? Now, do we see the Great Deku Tree in the flashbacks?
We see Great Deku Tree not in the flashbacks.
Not from like 10,000 years ago, right? Just from...
No.
Okay.
There's a couple of flashbacks where they visit the tree before going to see like, or going to go under the castle and figure out what's going on there.
Right.
And Zelda learns like the more it's given light energy, the more powerful it becomes.
Right. Well, I more so meant, do we see it in like the 10,000 year flashbacks?
I don't think so.
I don't think we do either. And here's my thought. So stay with me, okay? I was thinking like, wouldn't it be cool to like play as the Great Deku Tree? But because you know how in Ocarina of Time there's like the new Deku Trees, like a little sprout. I was like, why don't they make like a Hestu type of character who like becomes the Great Deku Tree that we know and love? I think that would be really sweet, actually. And actually, I'm kind of gung ho on this. I'm gonna go 62% on this, Al, because I think it's a good. Again, it's like it's a character that you're familiar with, but it's a new version of that character. They could go like full on Ent on on us here in Age of Calamity. I think that'd be so awesome. I think that'd be a great one.
Yeah, I think that would actually be a fun time, because I did consider if Hestu was still around, like those tree sprites, they live forever. So I was thinking about Hestu, but now that you're saying it, like Hestu would be kind of a boring repeat from Age of Calamity. So,
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, the Deku Tree would be kind of cool. And like clearly he's been around for eons, so being around for over 10,000 plus years sounds about right.
I think like I was
But
kind of pulling the characters. I there's something about it, Al. I could just see it.
I didn't give a percentage. I also think it's slightly like out of the realm of possibility. So I'm going to go with like 16%.
Well, that's not zero, so I mean, we'll take it.
I'm
Really
not allowed to say
quickly.
zero.
Oh yeah, that's right. Who's making these rules? Really quickly, let's do Hestu as well, because I do think that there could be an avenue where Hestu is there. Like I mean, are Koroks immortal?
I think so.
I
Yeah.
think so too.
They're just the Kokiri turned into Koroks, and weren't the Kokiri kind of immortal?
Yeah, like basically they just stayed as kids forever. That being said, I'm not very high on this. I think I'm gonna go like 9%. I think
Yeah, I'm
you
pretty low
could do
too.
it, but would it
I had
be?
him on my list because I was like, that is a repeat character from both games. I think Koroks have been around for a long time. They could be there. I don't
Yeah.
know, but and like I'm sure we might go to the Lost Woods and see either Hestu or the Great Deku Tree, but I just don't see Hestu being a playable character again. So I'll say 5% on that.
I'm with you. I think that would just be just kind of boring, especially if you could have like for the first time ever a playable Great Deku Tree. They'd probably have to
That would
call
be
him
fun.
something else because I mean he's probably not great at that point. He's probably just
Yeah,
the Deku
the
Tree.
Deku Tree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, I think that'd be pretty cool. We have a really good suggestion here in chat, Al. I don't know if you saw this.
yeah.
This is from Senior Moon. What about Bandit Misco, who was the thief who stole all the armor sets?
Hmm.
I'm low on this, but I do think that'd be cool.
I am confused about the continuity of the Bandit Misco between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom because he has like one side quest in Breath of the Wild where you do find like I don't think you find armor, but you find like weapons and a bunch of treasure chests. And then all of a sudden in Tears, all this armor that you've already gotten in the past game has been hidden by this bandit. And
Just ignore it, Al. Just ignore it.
the continuity is weird to me. So I don't know if he's been around, if he's like from the past or if he's still hanging around, hiding stuff.
Don't, just go with it, Al. Go with it.
I'm gonna say a very low 2% for me.
I'm gonna be higher than that, but I maybe not terribly higher. I do think that that would be a cool character to have, but like number one, like what does the character look like? What does the character
What does he
move
even do?
like? What does he
Yeah,
do? Like what is
he's
his
on
move
different armor.
set? Yeah, like do you switch between all these different sets of armor? Like probably not, because it's like you're switching. Like, what are you gonna put on Majora's Mask, or you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it's so. I think that this one is someone that I mean, you could introduce this character as like a new playable character, and that would be, I think, kind of okay. Um, I don't know. This one I'm just like I think we need a little bit more to see for inclusion here. So I'm gonna go 5%. I think myself,
Okay, very
which
good.
I don't know. I feel like that could still happen. Maybe sort of. All right, let's keep going here. And I'm gonna skip over a few characters here because we're obviously not gonna see Hudson and we're obviously not gonna see Joshua. And I'm going to go. How about this one? I am going to go Master Kohga. What do we think?
I love it. I have Master Kohga on my list. Um, I don't know if it's gonna be. I don't know if it's. I don't think Master Kohga is immortal, but like an equivalent to Master Kohga, because there's like the Yiga like I don't know drive has to have passed down forever because they've been following Ganondorf forever, right?
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I also just said that I don't think the Sheikah's around, so that would mean the Yiga aren't around. But like somebody in that circle who's like obsessed with Ganondorf, doesn't really even know who they are, and they just want him to take over and destroy the world.
Hmm.
But I would love to if it was just bad. Like this is the one thing where I'm like, because he's had such good continuity between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, I would not care if he was in this game. To be honest, like he's just so fun.
Um, I
Did I give a percent?
You
I
did
didn't
give a
give
percent. Yeah, if you give us a percent before I give up my
I'm gonna
thoughts.
say 32%.
Okay, that's actually like kind of in the ballpark that I'm at.
Okay.
Because here's my thought. I think that if you make Master Kohga like a title that is passed down, you know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I think you can make that work. Now, you kind of lose some of the charm of Master Kohga because like which is so funny, like how I kind of rag on Tears of the Kingdom a little bit, but man, this game made me love Master Kohga because I did not like him at all in Breath of the Wild or in Age of Calamity,
Yeah.
but something about him just worked for me in Tears of the Kingdom, and I just like now I'm just like, okay, this guy is awesome. He's just like a total goof. He's just, I don't know. He's just like he's kind of a loser a little bit, but like he had some good qualities in Age of Calamity, which were just like totally dropped also in this game. So I wouldn't mind seeing him in this game, and I think you could do it if it's a title, but then it's like, well, you kind of want like the same guy there as well. I don't know. I think that maybe you could find a way to make this work. Maybe there is a world where underneath the mask, Master Kohga is like an immortal Zonai.
Yeah, I just wonder if he is immortal because even in Age of Calamity, it's the same guy. I assume it's the same guy.
Yeah.
And that was 100 years in the past. He's just got vitality forever apparently. Like
Yeah.
And I mean, we obviously some of these characters have lived over 100 years, but they get really old. Like Impa, she's like elderly. So like what's going on with Kohga? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean like 100%. I think this is one
immortal juice from somewhere.
Yeah, this is one where I think you could just kind of like stretch the realm of believability to just say like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, he's immortal, and like you could just give like any fakakta reason, and it's like, okay, that's fine.
That's so funny because like with the Bandit, I'm like not willing to do that. But with Kohga, I am because he's just so, I don't know, he's just so out there and wild that it's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever goes on with him.
It's the tone of the character. Like it's like if you had Tingle in the game. It's like Tingle is just like a regular guy, but like if you want to say like he's 1,000 years old, like okay, whatever, you know. And I feel like Kohga kind of exists in that same realm. I'm not like super bullish on it. I'm gonna. What did you do? 32%. Damn, I wanted to do low 30s as well, and I don't want to match you. Maybe I'll.
Rules for this game.
I have my own self-imposed rules here, Al. Maybe I'll do like 28% because I don't think it's like super likely, but I do think it would be just like really cool to do, you know? So yeah, let's do that.
Since you mentioned him, he is on my list. Tingle. What do you think about Tingle?
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
It can't be very high. It can't be very high. No. I'm gonna go.
I mean.
Oh, well, what are you thinking? How about that?
Let me see if I can like convince you.
Okay.
He wasn't present in Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom.
He did have islands named after him.
And he did have islands named after him. So, like, he could be in the past. He could just be really far in the past. And somebody had to, like, make the maps of Hyrule, right? That when the Zonai came down and started making Hyrule, somebody had to make those maps.
Tingle, by God, he spent 10,000 years just like detailing every little mountain range in Hyrule.
And he has all the names, and I could totally see Tingle being the guy that, like, misspells stuff. So, like, that's why a bunch of them are spelled wonky. So what do you think of that?
I'm going to go, like, 6%.
Oh, man. I'm going to say, I want to be high on this. Not outrageously high, but I want to say 39%.
That is high. Wow. I don't know, like, I would love to see it. I cannot tell a lie. Like, I would love to see Tingle just show up, and I'd love to see him in the Breath of the Wild, like, style as well.
Yeah.
I think, like, Link looks so funny in his Tingle outfit.
Yeah, where did his outfit go? Like, who did that come from?
I don't know.
There's, like, lore on him.
Yeah, there could be maybe mysterious whispers passed over the ages. But I don't know. I just... Maybe I just can't get my hopes up that high, Al. I can't dream and then have my dreams crushed.
The more I think about it, the more I'm like, this is totally likely.
That'd be pretty cool. Because I think that you could have like You have a built-in moveset. You have a like, and again, people know this character, but it's new version of the character. Yeah, I can't say I'm very high on it though, but it would be incredible. He would kind of remind me of like Old Man Robbie a little bit, like this kind of like sporadic and stout.
Oh my gosh, has Tingle ever been voice acted?
No, I don't think so.
Can you imagine him being in this game and being voice acted?
That'd be incredible. Absolutely incredible. And you know what, Nintendo, you should contact me to do that. I'm just gonna do a little bit of self-promotion out here. I would gladly do that for you.
You gonna do the Kululu Impa?
I could work on it. Yeah, it's not ready right now. I need to practice it a bit, but I think I could do a serviceable job of doing that. Yes, Nintendo.
All right.
Come get me. I won't tell anyone on the Zelda Cast if Tingle's in the game or not. By the way, it'll be our secret. Okay, I'm gonna do 4 characters all together here, Al. You ready?
Yep.
Mipha, Urbosa, Daruk, and Rivali.
Mm-hmm.
I think the temptation is to say 0, and I understand that. I am not convinced that this is as low as we might be thinking. I could see a world where the game does kind of take us in a direction that we don't necessarily want to go. And it takes us in a direction with like time travel shenanigans, and somehow, some way, those 4 are the sages. I don't think it's super likely, but I'm not ready to rule it out either. I do wonder as well. It kind of seems like it's just written off and it's its own thing now, but like, where did those characters go at the end of Age of Calamity? Because they didn't die. They didn't go back to the Tears of the Kingdom timeline. They had to go somewhere. I think we're going to get a reveal of who these 4 sages from the past are.
I like it. Did you see, when you asked about this, did you see like the veil of like rejection and like
there was like
over me?
There was like a hushed tone and a shiver that went up my arm a little bit. Listen, I know it's not great, but I'm just saying I am not ready to like completely dismiss this.
Are you thinking? So you mentioned them in Age of Calamity. Are you think they're thinking there's any continuity from Age of Calamity between these 2 games?
Well, I don't know. And I'd probably err on no. Like if I had a gun to my head, but again, like I couldn't tell you 100% for sure, right? Like maybe the Age of whatever is its own little continuity there. So like, I think. I mean, listen, I think that if you were to go at the end of Age of Calamity and then Terrao sent back these guys to 10,000 years prior to, I don't know, do something, I could see that potentially.
But that's not canon. They're saying it's canon.
But we don't know if that's not canon or not yet, because those sages are never identified in Tears of the Kingdom.
Yes. I feel like Nintendo specifically saying this is canon is their way of saying Age of Calamity is not canon. And like admitting like, yeah, this is not canon. And the likelihood of even like, I would think it would be more likely for the new sages to go back in time than the old champions to go back in time. So I'm like,
guess what? I was gonna ask that next.
Okay, I would be higher percent for those guys. It would still be stupid, but I'm higher percent for them than I am for the old champions. I'm gonna say 1% for the old champions, all of them. They're not even. They're barely even mentioned in Tears of the Kingdom. Like Mipha probably gets more attention in Tears of the Kingdom than all of them. You know.
And you're right. You're right on all that. Like all of that is correct. I just like I think that you can make the argument that they could show up. Like again, where do they go after Age of Calamity? They don't go back to like the quote unquote normal timeline. It maybe there's a Days of Future Past split timeline again, but like I think you can make the argument.
We don't see them go back. You assume they don't go back?
I'm assuming, yeah.
They just gonna give up their lives?
I mean, I don't know. Like, well, that's the thing about Age of Calamity. Like, it completely messes up everything, right? Like,
yeah, true.
Now, so I guess the real question is like, is Age of Calamity canon-ish? And I think you're taking Nintendo too much at their word too. Like, okay, they told us that this game is canon. That's great. I'll believe it when I see it. You know?
Well, I'm going to put faith in it because I'm just going to manifest better things for myself in life.
Well, that's the difference between you and I. I'm an old bastard over here, cynical, and I'm gonna go higher on this than you. I'm actually. Are you ready for this? I'm gonna go 35%.
Now you're manifesting bad things in my life. Stop it.
I mean, I gotta be honest. I don't think that'd be that bad. If you had those 4 sages revealed as like the old champions, like, is it a stretch? Yeah. I don't think it'd be that bad though. Like, I like all of those 4 characters. I would like to see them again. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but and then here's another thing is like, if you wanted to play as those characters, just play Age of Calamity. You know?
Sure.
Why pay $70 for a game where you could play as these characters again?
Well, I have to imagine, like, if this ever comes true, like, I think their movesets are going to be completely different. I think they're going to have the secret stones, and that's going to augment their powers. Kind of like what you know, when Ganondorf turned Demon King.
A fair point. Yeah.
So, like, I don't expect them to have, like, the recycled moveset or the recycled look, either. So, I think you could see them in a new capacity. I mean, does it kind of cheapen the idea that this is a canon story? Totally. Does it really introduce a lot of problems of making, like, Age of Calamity again somewhat like canon as well? Like, yep. But I do like, here's the thing with these Hyrule Warriors games. Like, obviously, like, the first one and even Age of Calamity are just kind of like playing fast and loose, and they're just like, whatever. Like, here's just a bunch of cool characters you could play as. I guess like, when I'm asking myself, like, are we going to have like 4 original brand new characters in this game, or are they going to try and make them someone that we already know and have a connection to? I'm talking myself into going even higher, actually. I'm talking myself into 40% here, Al.
That's crazy talk. I don't like I'm trying so hard not to be like negative and like shutting down because I just don't want it so badly. But I can't see that.
Not even Corey Richmond can make an argument against that. Go to hell, Corey, by the way. I forgot to tell you that in Discord, so here it is, pal.
This is so unprovoked.
Yeah, that's okay. But
oh my God.
I listen, I think that you could make the argument, and I think that if this was a court of law, you couldn't definitively say they will not be in this game with the evidence that is presented. Now, Al, I'm sorry. Yes.
I mean, I could. I could definitively say without a doubt. I just can't say 0%, so I said 1%.
I don't think you can. My argument has facts and logic,
what
and
facts?
your argument is, well, I don't want it to happen.
No, my argument is they literally told us it's canonical. So, like, that's the facts that we were given. Obviously, we don't know because we haven't seen it happen yet. But if you're saying
you
it's
can
based
still
off the
time
facts that we
travel
were given,
canonically.
No, you can't, because no.
Someone in our Discord this week was like, "Hey, Allison, I don't mean to offend Andy here, but do you like Andy at all, or do you just like put up with him for work?" I could see why that question was asked.
Especially after last week. Oh my God. Thank you, by the way, to everybody in Discord who supported my claim that Teba is actually interesting and very different from Rivali and his own character and has his own likeness.
Listen, I never said they were clones. I just said of all the champions, they are the most similar, which I would even say that even Corey agreed with. So
no, he didn't. He literally said they're very different.
Listen, it's a lonely spot, like being the guy that has to tell the truth all the time. Nobody wants to hear that. People resent you for it, Al. But I'm used to that. It's a burden that I can carry.
Mm-hmm.
Being alone on the shoulders of giants is a terrible spot, but I do it for everyone.
You know, I've done a lot of studies on like delusion and brainwashing.
Oh yeah,
those are a lot of the things that those people tell themselves.
Well, speaking of delusion and brainwashing, I think that's a good segue as any for the 4 new champions. So let's go that path as well, because I think that they're directly tied to our conversation. So Riju, Tulin, not Teba, Sidon, and a Yunobo. There we go. That's the 4th one.
Drip Nobo.
Can't imagine that Taba's coming back. So I'm going to throw a 0.1% on Taba right now.
Even though Taba was one of the best characters in Age of Calamity, like the hardest hitter.
He's a good character
Great
in Age of
character to
Calamity,
play
yeah.
as.
Yeah, he's a good character.
Anyways, continue.
So I think you could basically make the exact same argument for the new champions, except I think you have to get them there differently, because at the end of Age of Calamity, the new champions go back to their present time.
I assume that. I thought you were assuming they didn't.
I mean, who knows? Who knows? But I think that it's basically like the same idea. Like somehow, instead of creating these 4 new characters, you want to get these 4 other characters back into the past. And then this is where Al, and I know you're gonna roll your eyes at this, but if you had, like, for example, a Terrao that was like coming in Days of Future Past style, and it was like, hey, we're in big trouble in the past. We need to seal Ganondorf, and I don't think we can do it without the 4 sages' help. Maybe bringing him back into the past and then sending him back into the future after. I would hate that, I think, on much more than I would hate the previous champions going. And I also think that this is less likely. I would personally go like 2%, but I can't say that it wouldn't happen.
The idea of them going back in time is like a really low percent for me. I'm going to say like 11%. Because my question is, like, if the past sages couldn't do it with the secret stones, like, what difference are the others going to make with the secret stones? Like, nobody could beat him. They told the story like 5 times in Tears of the Kingdom. Nobody could beat him. The only way to beat him was to seal him and build up the Master Sword.
How about this?
So,
I've got a theory, but finish, please.
Okay, but I'm going to say the same thing I said about Link. If it's a matter of seeing present time, these guys doing some missions with Link, I think that percentage is much more high. I can't remember what I said for Link that way, but I think it was in the 30s or 40s. I'm going to be right there. So let's say 36% that if it's like a present situation, 11% if they go into the past.
Okay, I could see this. Now, I don't want this, but I could see this, okay? So Age of Calamity starts off, and Tears of the Kingdom is actually over, pretty much, let's just say. Like, so it starts off, the events of the game are done. And Zelda, who is now back in human form, which was cheap, I will say, by the way. But she's back in human form, okay? And she's like, guys, like, we beat Ganondorf, but there's actually one more thing that you need to do for me. In the past, the only reason that we were able to seal the Demon King was because we had help from 4 great sages. I need to use my time abilities to send you all back into the past in order to help us seal the Demon King. I could see that. Mm-hmm. I could. I don't know if I love that, if I'm being honest. But, maybe I have to. I could see it. Maybe I have to bump up and take my own medicine here. Like, I don't want it to happen, but I could see it. So maybe 2% is too low. Maybe I'm going 10%.
Okay.
What do you think about that circumstance, Al?
I don't like any of that. I don't like that because I feel. I'm trying to think of a situation where Zelda's like, by the way, the only reason we were able to do this is because, like, I brought you back in time.
Yeah.
And then she like how would I'm just trying to think of the logistics, and I understand, like, you're like, it could happen and maybe, but I just can't see it. And also, like, why not? That wouldn't be canonical because, we heard that story 5 times from Tears of the Kingdom. Literally, from every sage and from Nayru. Well, I guess she's a sage. From all the sages. Heard the same exact story. There were only... How many people were there? 6 people were there? There was only so many people there that sealed Ganon. Okay? I can't imagine 4 other people being there magically. Or Zelda being like, oh yeah, by the way, there was 4 other people there magically.
It's not that there are 4 other people. It's that 4 of the 6 people are the new champions. No,
I don't like that either, because
that's what I'm saying.
They say they're the ancestor. They say we're your ancestor and yada yada, whatever. Sorry, I'm all flustered because I don't like this idea so much. So
I don't like it either. Let me just put that. Let me be very clear.
I can't like eloquently say what I'm trying to say. No, hard no. 2%. Ooh, I had to stop myself from swearing.
Okay, well, I'm gonna
Oh
stick
my
with 10% because I
Listen,
could see that.
I'm so traumatized by Age of Calamity. I just like I can't handle it. This all happens again.
Well, we'll see. I keep on coming back to it, Al. Like those 4 sages gotta be somebody. I feel like they gotta be somebody. Like
What if
building up
they're
4 characters is tough.
what if they're the people that they named the divine beasts after?
Maybe, yeah, maybe. But then again, like they're still brand new characters, so it's just kind of like,
And
yeah.
Tingle's the one who wrote down their names, so that's why they're kind of wonky.
Well, I mean,
And Sid Verunia is
I think that's more likely that they're the old sages, but
I mean,
yes, I don't know.
see, because yeah, like sure. So they have this like the imprisoning war, and then they have the next like seal of Ganon trying to come out, Calamity Ganon. That's the old, super old champions, the
Yeah.
old hero, the old Zelda. I could see them being like the sages from Tears of the Kingdom being who inspired the names of the divine beasts. I don't know.
Yeah, I could see that too. Like I could definitely see them like being named that. I don't know. I just like again, like I feel confident. Like those 4 have to be playable characters, right? Like they have to be.
Yeah, those 4 are playable characters. I just think you're worried about introducing brand new characters, but I'm not. I think this is a good opportunity to do so, and I think they're brand new characters. I don't think they're anybody we know. Or they're
Which is fair.
to people we know from other Zelda games.
Yeah, which is fair. Like you could do that. I think your path is more difficult if you do that. But maybe it's not actually because like maybe even if you have returning characters, it probably does matter how they get there as well. So like as cool as it would be to play as Mipha or Yunobo, if it's ridiculous how they get there, then yeah, maybe you might as well just have a new character. I'm just presenting the argument of how they could get there, and I know we don't want it, but I think that you could still make a case that could come true. Al is just glaring a hole in me right now.
I'm not.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's not you that I'm glaring at. It's the idea of that being put into the.
It's just your ideas.
Yeah, Andy, it's your ideas that I don't like. I don't know.
You're not the first person to say that.
I really struggle. Okay, I have something on my list. Can I give a thing on my list?
Of course.
This is kind of an out there thing, but it made me like I was thinking of Age of Calamity and how we got the battle tested Guardian, and I was wondering if maybe we get like a flex construct.
I could see that. Yeah. I could see that as like a DLC or something like that.
Right.
I can't say I'm over 50, but I don't know. I'd say like I don't know, 38%. I could see that. Yeah.
I want to say outside of Minoru, getting any kind of construct, I want to say is like a 63% for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have much to add. Like, I think that could be a good, just like a good option. Like, especially like the move set is there, the familiarity is there. I mean, Battle Tested Guardian was so weird that it's like
It was so weird, but we loved it. I remember us like wigging out about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I could totally see that. I think that you could. I don't know how they do this, but I'd love to see like Gleeok as a playable character. I don't know how you do that one though. That one seems a bit of a reach to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Flux construct though I think is very achievable. So yes. All right, let's move on. This is a nicer and easier one here. Sonia.
Yes. Sorry, 99%.
I'm gonna go 97%.
Yeah, I
like
think
it's gotta
she's
be.
playable up until a point, and then after you finish the story, then you can play her in whatever level that you want.
Yeah, I think so too. I wonder, maybe there's a way that she gets saved in the past.
I swear to God.
You know what? That wouldn't necessarily not be canonical, because I mean, you see that and you don't know exactly what happens. Like there is some leeway here to reinterpret the past.
I mean, there's like you talk about like how Zelda turning back to human like kind of cheapened her sacrifice. I feel like that's why I'm so mad at Age of Calamity, because having them go back and save the champions, it really just cheapened everything that like we suffered through with them in Breath of the Wild. And so if you do any of that in Tears, I'm gonna be pissed off.
I think that's fair. I think that's a very fair critique. So yes, let's move on. This is one that our pal Stalnox suggested, and I was going to bring it up anyways. And that is Tauro, the explorer whose passion for field research is unrivaled, the leader of the Zonai survey team. Also, the guy with like the absolute like ridiculous 12 pack that he has. This guy has like a million abs in Tears of the Kingdom and wears an open shirt. I would wear an open shirt vest too if I had like an 18 pack. To be fair.
Yeah.
I'm working on it. Yeah.
I always thought his voice didn't match him in the game. Not that he's like super voice acted, he's just got some sounds, but whatever like stock sounds they chose for him, I didn't feel like they matched him.
I can't remember what his voice sounded like, to be honest with you.
I don't know how to describe it.
That's okay.
Super young. He sounded super young.
I'm gonna go pretty low. I don't think that he's a character that's like relevant enough to the game that like they'd make some kind of weird exception to get him like as a playable character. And I don't know if like I don't know. I guess I just don't see it because I don't know how you get him there without any kind of like time travel shenanigans or anything like that either. You know.
I will say if he did time travel back to that time, he'd lose his mind because he'd be so excited about all the Zonai everywhere and the Zonai stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
He'd lose it. I don't know if he'd be very helpful.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 1%. I'm sorry, I'm being so boring. Let's do 2%.
Oh, that's wow.
I'm trying because I want to say 0 for all of these because that's how strongly I feel about it, but I don't see Tauro coming back in time. But if we do some present day stuff, like I've been talking about, I could totally see him bouncing around doing something.
Honestly, even then, I don't see it. I don't know. I just was anybody just like, man, that Tauro is a great character from Tears of the Kingdom. Maybe they were, but like I haven't talked to anybody that said that.
I feel like I just want to fight you out of spite, but no, I can't say that. I particularly felt, especially because like a lot of stuff. If you did stuff out of order, like a lot of people did, you can just skip a lot of him. And even though you kind of have to do it anyways, you still just talk to him and like that's it. Like you don't go on a journey with him if you do it out of order, which you can't, which is frustrating with Nintendo. If you did it in order, you do go more on a journey with him. So there's not a lot of time to connect with him, to be honest.
I think it's my new goal. I just like if I get you flustered every week, like this is good podcasting. You know, this is good stuff.
I don't feel like it's very good content because I'm like, I can't even speak.
Okay, what about this, Al? You ready for this?
Okay.
Kass will be a playable character in Age of Imprisonment, and let me throw out some reasoning here. I mean, I think it's low, but Kass like completely disappears from Breath of the Wild to Tears of the Kingdom. Could there be some kind of world where he gets sent back in time and goes to 10,000 years prior? Maybe his songs are so powerful. If anybody has seen Sinners in theaters, which is an absolutely incredible movie, by the way, that you should go see this, there is a sequence where the premise is like music, it can be played so beautifully and so powerfully that it transcends time. And it can bring people from different eras together, and there's a really incredible scene in there showing that. Maybe Kass is like he's on his accordion, and like all of a sudden he's 10,000 years in the past. What do you think?
No. So I remember Andy's face right now.
All right.
I remember when we were trying to guess playable characters for Age of Calamity, and we wondered if Kass's teacher was going to be a playable character, because he is taught, bardship by somebody who used to live in the time of like 100 years in the past with Zelda and Link. So I remember wondering that. I just don't see him being able to go back in time I just no. I'm sorry. That's a exciting 3% for me.
Oh, we're really moving up in the world here. We graduated from 1 to 3.
Try not to say 1. 1.5%.
Oh boy. I was looking for this character's name, Alan, and I'm hoping that you can help me find it because I have not been able to find it. I wanted to present to you the the big pile of poop that you see in the depths that keeps on asking you for spirit orbs, whose name
the Poe?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is it just like a
It's
Poe?
like the Great Poe or something.
Did they have a name? I was like, I thought of it like midway through it. I was trying to look up the name and I can't find it. But what do we think about Big Papa Poe over in the depths?
You know what? I feel like that is much more likely because they've been down there forever, and maybe they were built based on something like a spiritual entity,
Maybe.
and then like they're possessed by that spiritual entity because they talk to you and they're just statues.
Yeah. You know
I'm
what?
trying to Google it.
While you do that, I realize I never gave my percentage for Kass. I'm going to say 12%. I also think it's very, very unlikely, but I think that's one of those characters that's almost like Kohga, where it's like you kind of want closure on that character. You wouldn't mind seeing more of him, so you're a little bit more lenient, or at least I would be a little bit more lenient for like how he got there.
Like, where did he go in tears? He like abandoned 6 or 7 of his daughters.
Right.
Like,
Well, he just left the Earth. So like maybe he went back in time. Like that's what I'm saying. Like maybe
I can't remember if they even say anything about him, like if he's traveling or something. Bargainer statues.
Yes.
Are what those?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Why do we maybe like the Bargainer soul or something like that? Because I mean, obviously it's not gonna be a statue, but
that would be cool. Or yeah, I think that would. I feel like that's much more likely because I feel like they are ancient and been around forever, and maybe they were, there's that one guy, that one statue where you could trade your heart and stamina pieces.
Yeah.
And he said that he was like trapped there by the goddess. Maybe
that's him. Yeah.
And maybe it's Zelda who trapped him, who's just like, you're causing mayhem.
I'm feeling ambitious here. I'm gonna go 58%. What do we think about that?
For bargainer statue?
For bargainer statue. Well, the bargainer, whatever.
Yeah, whatever that entity is.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to say 65% also, because that just seems way more likely to have been around.
Okay, I like it. All right, well, let's go. I got a few more here, Al, and we'll go through them.
I got a few more too.
Yeah. You know what? Let's do some of yours.
Okay. Okay. I feel like this one might be possible more interesting. A Lionel.
Like I don't know. I guess like that'd be something just like the battle tested guardian, where it's like, yeah, whatever, that's fine.
Yeah, but they're wicked with their weird horns and stuff now, and like, I don't know, maybe you could pick which one, like which version, the blue or the white or whatever, or the gold that you could fight as. And I don't know, I was trying to think of something like more exciting, because like in OG Hyrule Warriors, there's tons of villains, and we are assuming Ganondorf. I'm sure maybe we'll talk about Twinrova later.
We'll get to Twinrova.
And then I was thinking like a construct of some sort that isn't Minru. So I was trying to think of like more enemies, and I put Lionel or like a smart Captain Bokoblin thing that's similar to like King Blin or whatever his name is from Twilight Princess.
King Bulbin. Put some respect on his name.
All right, King Bulbin. You're right. He deserves respect. Yeah, King Bulbin, something of that nature. So some kind of villain. So let's make it like the percentage would be another type of villain / bad guy / monster that is playable in this game.
Well, no, let's stick with like Lionel, because I think that's what we need. Like, because I mean, there's obviously going to be villains. Like there'll be, Ganondorf. We'll get to Twinrova in just a second. I think Flux Construct. Here's what I would say. I think that there's probably room for like one kind of like generic enemy, like a Lionel or a Flux Construct or like a Captain, King Bulbin type of character. I don't think you want to do a bunch of them, because then it just turns into Mario Kart 9, where it's just like, we have all these new racers. Here's Goomba, and here's Fish, and here's Cow, and here's like NPC number 6, and it's like, oh, okay. And granted, it's different, but
I'm not saying add all those. I'm saying something like it of that nature, whether it's the Lionel or the King Bulbin. What's his name?
Yeah. King Bulbin. Yeah, you got it.
Okay, thank you. I keep second guessing my life with that name. So, but Lionel seemed like the most likely to have a good move set. Because there's like so many different things that Lionels do to you when you're fighting them. So I
Yeah.
just thought this would be a good opportunity to fight as a Lionel. So
Um,
I'm gonna say 51%.
whatever percentage I gave to the Flux construct, I would give to the Lionel, which I think was like in the 60s. I can't even remember now. I don't know, whatever. I'll just say 60%. I think that there's room for like one of those types of characters.
Hmm.
Maybe not like a ton. And I guess since you were going to say it, we might as well just transition to it now. Do you want to talk about Twinrova?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm high on this, man. I think it's going to be 85%.
I just don't know
85.
how we're gonna see it. So like we know that Kome and Kotake are there. Like, do they combine? Can you fight as them separate?
I think they're going
Uh,
to play like Pure and Robbie from Age of
okay.
Calamity, and then maybe
Yeah.
like their final smash, so to speak, is going and turning into like Twinrova, like the one that we know,
Mhm.
you know?
I am also very high on this because, again, I think of the other Hyrule Warriors games. So, like, Ganondorf had his minions, which was like Volga, Vati, and Girahim, and those were all playable characters. And then you have
Hmm.
Age of Calamity, you had Aster, and the Yiga, the different Yiga characters. So, I feel like they need a henchman, not just like monsters, like the Flux contracts and the
Yeah.
Lionel. So it makes sense to me that Twinrova would be that henchman because we've seen them in Tears of the Kingdom. So I'm like 84%.
Yeah, I'm right with you. I think that Twinrova is like another just a amazing example of like a character that you know, but it's new in this context. Yeah, I'd be a little bit disappointed if actually they weren't
I
playable
would
in
I think
here.
I would too. I think I would too, actually.
Yeah. And I also think that there's going to be like a new villain as well. Like I think there is going to be some sort of like Aster or something along those lines. So
Hmm.
I think that that's coming. All right, let's well, and unless you got a couple more actually, because I've got a few maybe more boring ones, just housekeeping ones.
I just got one, and it's just a poll from Age of Calamity, but these are characters that I think would be there during the Age of Imprisonment time, and that would be the Great Fairies.
That was the character I was going to go to next.
Okay, yeah, the Great Fairies. Similar situation to what they were in Tears of the Kingdom, if not being different fairies, or like, are these fairies like I imagine they're immortal, but like, are they completely immortal? Like 10,000 plus years immortal? You
I
know?
think so.
Okay,
I
then
like
yeah, I think they would be around.
I think they should be a playable character, but I think you got to revamp them because I don't know if you want to
Yes.
bring back like the same kind of gimmick where you could switch between the five. Um,
Also, just like moving around, even though it was actually surprisingly not as bad as I thought it was going to be back in the day, moving around in the giant flower is weird.
yeah, I didn't mind that. I thought it gave him a little bit of personality, but
Yeah.
I would like to see. And I don't know exactly what, but like maybe like a different type of great fairy, or maybe it's a Zonai or something like that. I don't know.
Mhm.
I think you could like call the character great fairy and have a lot of leeway with the design, with the moves and stuff like that. Because again, it's familiar but new. So
Mhm.
I think that I'm pretty high on Great Fairy being back in some capacity. I'd probably say, what did you say?
I didn't say a percent. I'm going to go with 73. 73%.
I'll take like I don't know 66% because I think that one is one that could make sense.
Okay.
So.
That was everything on my list.
Well, I wanted to run through a couple characters from Age of Calamity as well to see if bringing them back made sense. And we'll go to my friend and yours here, Al. Monk Maz Kashia.
Um,
I'm pretty low on this one, but
yeah.
this one does explicitly say in the Age of Calamity description, Conduit of the Goddess, a powerful Sheikah monk from 10,000 years past.
Right. Yeah, but even the Age of Imprisonment is before the 10,000 years, so it's even longer in the past. And I still think the Sheikah come a little bit later. I want to say
This takes place 10,000 years ago, does it not?
it takes place past 10,000 years ago because 10,000 years ago was the first Calamity,
Okay.
where Calamity was coming out for the first time.
Isn't Demon King Ganondorf the first Calamity?
No, so Demon King Ganondorf was sealed in the imprisoning war, and then later, who knows how many years later, was the first Calamity,
Okay.
and they built the Divine Beast, because in the imprisoning war,
yes,
there is no Divine Beast.
Yes, you're correct.
So it makes sense that Monk Mazkashia has been there for 10,000 years. Totally makes sense. It makes sense that all the monks have been there for 10,000 years. I just don't know if they've been around for longer. I feel like the Sheik could come in a little bit later. So...
what's your percentage? I'm waffling a little bit here.
I'm going to say... this is really low. I'm going to say 5% for Monk Mazkashia. But it would be cool. Monk was really fun to play as in Age of Calamity.
I'm going to say like 20%. And for the reasons you said, but I actually think the thing that probably works against Monk Mazkashia coming back more so than anything else, I don't know that there's like a big desire to play as Monk Mazkashia again. Like, what's that new moveset gonna look like? Probably nothing different. Like, like it's not like a bad choice to have, but it does also just kind of like I guess like an unexciting one is how I would classify it. So yeah, well, we'll see. I only got a couple left here, so we'll finish up on maybe some spicier ones, and I'm gonna throw 3 at you, and you know exactly where I'm going here.
Yeah.
Nayru, Din, Farore. I'm going all in on this. I'm going all in. I'm gonna go 94% for all 3.
Wow.
All 3.
In
this
like
this
human
is
form?
In human form, yeah, and I think that they can probably transform into like a dragon. I could see an instance too where maybe these 3 characters are somehow combined into one as well. So I, if it's not 3 separate playable characters, don't come at me. But I'm pushing all my chips in on this. I think that this is like something that we're gonna see, and I think we're gonna see how these dragons came to be. So I'm going all in here, Al. 94%. I think it's just like a cool moveset too, and cool characters, cool new interpretations of old characters. Like, you go down the list and it's like check, 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 check. It checks all the boxes of everything you want from playable characters from this game.
This is one where I don't want to burst your bubble.
You can't, so it's okay.
Okay. I just don't think it's very likely. I know we've talked about it in the past. I just can't, my brain can't get past the timeline. And you've mentioned maybe the bones and stuff were from past dragons, and that's how they know about draconification. But I just feel like they know about draconification because of the goddesses turning into the dragons. And so I don't see that happening in the same span of time that Zelda's there, considering eating a secret stone to turn into a dragon, So
I guess that's just I'm man, there's so many ways that you can get past that. There's so many narrative ways that you can get past that. I just think that that's not an issue for me. I can't, I'm a very literal person. Sometimes I struggle thinking outside the box, so it could be me. I'm gonna say I would love to see them as dragons. I don't know if I'm going to see them as people. So as people, I'm going to say 11%. But as dragons, I think that's more likely. I'm going to say 28%. I think that... No, I think I'm going all in. I can't wait until we see them officially announced. Because this is my one prediction where I'm just okay, I am so sure about this. And if it doesn't come... I'm like Morpheus finding the one here. I believe... so much that I'm willing to risk it all, Al. So we'll see about that. Okay, well, you know what? Let's do 1 more / 2 more, because I think 1 could be a playable character and 2 could just be an antagonist here. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Terrao and Harbinger Ganon.
Okay. You're saying these 2 together?
Not together necessarily, but I think that if you had Terrao as a playable character, I don't think Harbinger Ganon is a playable character. And for anybody that doesn't remember, Harbinger Ganon is basically the evil version of Terrao. I think that if you have one, you probably include the other as an antagonist. So now, the heart of this question, Al, is like is not is Terrao going to be a playable character? The heart of the question is there some kind of continuity between Age of Calamity and
Uh-huh.
Age of Imprisonment? Because if there is, and if Terrao is there, and if that's true, then your door is wide open for all these other playable characters to come in, like the new champions, the old champions, like a lot of the people we dismissed as being impossible, because Terrao can warp people back and forth through time. And I know, I get it, okay? But if that is possible, that opens up a whole new world of possibilities here for us. So, and I have to say, like, I don't absolutely hate the idea of Terrao being in the Hyrule Warriors Zelda games as like a, I'm trying to think of a Marvel example of like one character who kind of is in all the different timelines and stuff that ties them all together. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but like I don't hate the idea of like Terrao being that constant character to bring these seemingly unrelated worlds together. I do think once again they've kind of backed themselves into a corner and said like, well, no, this is a canon story, but like that's what they said about Age of Calamity too, and Terrao was there.
They didn't.
Well,
I feel like
I mean they basically did.
they inferred that it was. They were like, "This is what happened 100 years ago."
No, they literally said this is the events that took place before Breath of the Wild. Like that's pretty. You're
Right.
basically saying it's a canonical story.
Right. That's why we assumed it was that way, and why I feel like they're being specific this time by saying the actual word. What is your percentage for Terrao?
I don't know. Let's go. I can't say it's above 50. I don't think it's above 50, but I don't think it's close to 0 either. I think that there is a shot that this could come true. How about this? I'll take 26% that Terrao shows up as a playable character.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Even if Terrao shows up at all, actually, this is a different one. Let's just not necessarily playable character, but that he shows up like at all.
Okay. I know it's really frustrating this episode that I have this wall that I cannot like bust through to be more creative thinking and be like, it's okay if any of this stuff happens. I just can't do it. There's this wall and I just want to keep building it taller is what I want to do. And so for Terrao to be in this game, I'm going to say 2%. I just can't see it happening. Just can't do it.
Okay. I don't like even necessarily disagree. Like I can't say it's likely, but I think that there's evidence there that you can make a compelling argument for it.
I mean, you could, because he could just bop around between timelines
Right.
and also maybe alternative universes. If Age of Calamity is an alternative universe to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom as we know it, why can't he just bop around to making Age of Imprisonment and an alternative reality to what we know to Tears of the Kingdom? Like,
Right.
It's very possible. I just reject the idea so completely. I feel like I'm starting to sweat in this episode.
Ay. Well, I'm presenting the evidence, and Al is just she shut me down, and that's really no different from any other week of the Zelda Cast, I will say.
Oh my god.
It's a tough spot here, Al. It's a tough spot. Always having to be. No, I won't go down that rant again. Well, that's pretty much all the characters that I think have like a kind of legitimate shot. Like I think there's going to be a bunch of characters that are created for this game. The 4 champions or the 4 sages are really intriguing to me, like what they're going to do with that. Because I think I could see a scenario where it's like 4 brand new characters. I could see a scenario where it's the old champions, the new champions. Lots of interesting possibilities, and I actually think that like as much as we don't want it, I think the time travel stuff is intriguing, adds a little wrinkle to the game. So we'll see. Al, anything to add before we get on out of here?
Nope. We went through everybody on my list, so I'm Gucci. I'm eager to like when they start announcing the characters and giving us the official art too, because they always do a really good job on that official art for the Switch Zeldas. So I'm really excited about that, and that was a fun time back in the day when they like shadow dropped Age of Calamity, and then like every week they gave us a new character. So I'm excited for that time to come up here quickly.
Me too. I can't wait to see Din, Farore, and Nayru confirmed as playable
I
characters.
mean, it would be really cool. That's why I'm like, this is one of the ones where I don't want to pop your bubble, because I think it would be awesome to have that happen.
And also, I can't wait until Asturd makes his return in Age of Imprisonment.
Can you imagine?
We didn't talk about him, and we won't talk about him because he doesn't deserve it. But I wouldn't say 0 on that either, to be honest with you. But I'd probably say like 5%. All right, well, that's going to do it for us, everybody. We are going to get out of here. So once again, happy Mother's Day to all the mamas out there, and we hope that you have a amazing day. I did want to let everybody know we're doing some changes over on Patreon, patreon.com/spnet. Easy for me to say. GUI is coming in now to help me kind of get everything in line. So Goo is going to be doing some cool stuff over on Patreon. So go and check out this month and see if you like it. It's a couple bucks to get in the door, and if you like it, then consider supporting the show. That'd be really awesome. We have a bunch of other great content there too. I think we're going to be revisiting the Zelda cartoon, so that's going to be really fun. We're going to be taking some questions and a bunch of other stuff, frankly, that I don't even know about that GUI has lined up for us. So that's going to be quite fun. Give us a follow over on Blue Sky at the Zelda Cast, at Spiteri316, at Allison Aletha. Check out the Zelda Cast wherever you get your podcasts. Like and subscribe and rate and recommend, review, all of that kind of good stuff. And lastly, of course, hey, head over to ZeldaDungeon.net, and if you're stuck on a Zelda game or want some news, man, we got you covered over there. That is going to do it for us, everybody. We are going to get out of here. Until next week, my friends. Take care.
Bye.
Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this clip and want to see more of the Zelda Cast, make sure to head over to your favorite podcast platform of choice and subscribe. There are over 200 episodes in the vault that will provide you with hundreds of hours of Zelda content for you to enjoy. You can listen to us when you're on a walk, fighting Ganon, trying to sleep, whatever. And if you want to see these shows as they happen, make sure to head over to twitch.tv/the Zelda Cast, where you can watch our beautiful faces talk about Zelda every single week. Don't miss out, and we'll see you next time.